Hi, this is Lorraine, and I'm doing another video. If you will give me just a minute to clear, center, and balance my energy, and we will get started. So, this week has been filled with a lot of interesting things. The first thing I want to start off with was I want to emphasize how important it is to listen to your intuition and follow it and honor it. I had somebody contact me today, not today, but somebody contacted me who was listening to their intuition, somebody I didn't know, and probably gave me one of the most profound messages that I've received in over 5 years, maybe. And I would define this person or identify this person as an earthly guide. There has been a lot of negative energy coming in and just really trying to douse my light, and then also just trying to shift the information, just trying to confuse me, and it's just made it a struggle to discern. And I've just had to work really hard on just maintaining that clear, centered, balanced energy, not letting negative forces or people coming into my life with really negative perceptions, communications, really can affect that. My state of mind, my emotional state, which affects my balance. And so I've just been focusing on that. Maintaining my center. But this person came in and said she has a message, and I think she thought it was for me, and she conveyed that message, and it was definitely for me, and it shifted my whole I don't want to say connection, perception, my meditation. What it did was she guided me to the place I was supposed to be going to through my meditations. And what it is the circle of creation. And within the circle is where our reality is created. All realities are created. And it is a circle that is laid out or created by Native Americans, indigenous people. So they outline the circle. Within the circle is a fire, and then smoke to clear the space. But also, the fire represents rebirth. The smoke represents the building blocks of our reality, of the universe. And the indigenous people are the consciousness, and they are the support, and they are the markers for this world. There are other things going on in this circle, but those are the main 3 things. And so when I was introduced to this circle of creation, I was given information, and I went into a meditation, and the first day I was not ready to walk into the circle. I observed, and I told the Native American gentleman, I said, I'm not ready to enter the circle. And he spoke for all of the natives, all the indigenous people in the circle, as a collective. They were a collective that was communicating through this one gentleman. And he said, that's okay. We've been waiting a long time for you. We can wait a little longer. So the first day, first night of meditation, I just observed, and I sat outside the circle. And I observed the energy, the fire, just from outside. The next day I went in, and immediately I did what I was asked or guided to do by the person who conveyed the message, and immediately information started coming in. I was told it was a circle of protection because I was having so much issues with the negative energy coming in, but really what it is a circle of creation, and within that circle there is profound protection, of course. The most important part or component of the circle of creation is that when you go in there, you go in with a positive frame of mind. You go in with a balanced state of mind. If you go in with positive thoughts, you create positive realities. If you go in with negative, then you create the negative. So it's very important that when you go in, you are ready to go in. So with that, there's several things that are very important to understand, because we are at the beginning of a new cycle. What's happening on Earth is just a dispelling of the negative energy. And I'll get a little bit more into that a little later. But when I walked into the circle, there's a few things that are important that I need to convey and that I have come to understand. First is that right now there are no outside influences affecting this world. Whatever outside influences there have been in the past, they have done all they can do to influence this world. They have done all they can do to affect the negative energy on this world and to try to empower that negative energy. They've done all they can do to try to oppress and control their agents. They've done all they can do at this point. There is nothing more they can do. They cannot affect our realities. Not anymore. We are separate from any other external influence, but any external life, any life that is not of Earth. Right now, it is all about Mother Earth. It is all about the beings on our planet. The Native Americans represent that. The indigenous people represent Earth. They represent Mother Earth. They represent all facets of Mother Earth. And so when I walk into the circle and I see the fire, I see the smoke, and I see the natives, the Native Americans around me, the indigenous people, I know that we are creating from this world solely, from the consciousness of this world solely. It is us. We are the creators in this world, and we are working together as a unifying force. But only the most positive energies are influencing the direction of Mother Earth. Only the wisest, only the most connected, only those who have chosen to connect with the divine from the heart center, only those who have chosen faith and trust in God, in divinity, are creating at this point for Mother Earth. When I go into the center of the circle and I sit with the fire and I watch the smoke, I drop to the center of Mother Earth and I engage the beings, the four beings, the large beings that are at the heart of Mother Earth. They protect the heart of Mother Earth, but they also are the heart of Mother Earth. The heart of Mother Earth. I engage them, water, fire, air, earth, and I represent spirit, ether. And we unify and we spread the smoke. Those building blocks of creation. The smoke represents the building blocks of creation. We are spreading that smoke out through the earth. And we are helping Mother Earth to be reborn. In our every action, our mind, body, and spirit, every part of us is influencing the rebirth of Mother Earth. We are aiding in her transition. And then that energy, that smoke, dissipates out to the outer edges of Mother Earth. And we are honored by the raptors in this endeavor. The other beings in the heart of Mother Earth or in the center of Mother Earth are not part of this direct timeline, so they are not directly engaging in this moment, in these times. As we go out to the surface, we are, in a sense, by projecting this balanced or positive energy out to the surface, we are pushing out the negative polarity. We are removing it from this world. And so, just as the negative polarity is no longer influencing what happens on this world, the damage they've done is done. The people, the agents they have working for them are working their doing the best they can to try to maintain control, but this negative polarity can no longer exact influence. They don't have any more power. This is now the divine coming in to transition this world. Nothing can usurp the divine. Nothing can usurp God. So as this energy is projecting out into our world, through our world and to the surface, it is pushing out the negative polarity, this negative energy. And although these beings are still on this world, these who have chosen the negative polarity will be incarnating on Cepheus. The choices have been made. The people who have committed to fear, to the negativity, and do not express or demonstrate faith in God, divinity, the source of all creation, will be incarnating on another world. And those people have made that choice through their consciousness, through their actions, through their words. They will be reincarnating in Cepheus. It's easier to convey this message because we've all made the choice. In the past, as I share the messages, it's hard because I know there's still a chance that some people can, if they see the light, if they see the darkness and can identify it and choose the light, they can still create the change. And so watching them struggle is difficult. But at this point, the choices have been made. There's no going back. Another part of tribulation I think people should understand, or what we're going through, we all have to go through this because this negative polarity has the option. The people who choose the negative polarity or choose fear, they choose to deny God or deny faith or trust in God. They all have the choice to find their way back to the light. everybody is given a chance, a first chance, a second chance, a third chance to choose goodness, kindness, tolerance, unconditional love, patience, support in the most positive way. We all have that choice. But we can make that choice at any time. But if we continue to choose to ostracize, to insult and belittle and marginalize those for no other reason than they have a difference of opinion, or maybe other reasons, but that's at its most basic and most simplest, to ostracize and insult and belittle people because of their beliefs, and their beliefs don't support yours or aren't aligned with yours, that is choosing the negative polarity. And everybody has an opportunity to see the light, to choose goodness and patience and tolerance. And if you have still chosen the negative over the positive, then you will be incarnating in Cepheus. You will not be coming back to Earth. And you have made the conscious choice. Everybody has the choice to change or to redirect their thought. Everybody. And even those who will be incarnating on Cepheus, when you get there, you still have the choice to choose the positive, to choose love, to choose to move from the heart center. You still have that choice, but you will be incarnating on Cepheus, and you will be starting a new cycle. So you will have to go through that cycle on Cepheus. Earth has gone through, I think it's a 12,000 year cycle, and we are starting a new cycle. So those of us who have chosen balance or the light will start the new cycle, and we will stay on Earth. If you have not, you will be going to Cepheus. That is how this is going to go. The circle of creation is how we will recreate the world that we are living in from the ashes of this past cycle. The circle of creation is where we recreate the world that we choose to live in, and we recreate that with our thoughts, with our projection of the most positive love and light energy. We create that reality through our actions with one another. And as I go into the circle of creation, I see my duty in inspiring the creation, the rebirth of this world. And that takes me to back 5 years ago, 2016. I did some 4 past life regressions, and the first one was a very traditional past life regression, but the second one I chose to allow my guides to show me what I needed to know, because the spiritual awakening I was going through was so profound, and it was very difficult. I was meditating probably an hour and a half, 3 times a day, a lot of tears, a lot of energy manifesting in front of me, a lot of beings, a lot of physical things manifesting in front of me. So what I needed was for my guides to come in and kind of help me and show me what I needed to know to help me on my path. And so in one of my meditations, I was told I was a healer. I've always been psychic, but I didn't know. I was raised Catholic, so I just prayed the rosary and I did things that way, even though I had psychic experiences. But when I went into a meditation, I had these guides. They all look like lights, and like they were shaped like marquee diamonds, and they said to me, "You are a healer." And I looked at my right hand, and like all the colors of the rainbow were projecting out of my right hand. And so I'm like, I can only ask myself, what does this mean? what do I need to do? And so I did this past life regression where I asked for guidance, and I asked to set the intention for that guidance. And so as soon as I went into this like hypnotic state, which actually was more of a channeling state, they took me into I was traveling through a wormhole. All the lights on either side, all the marquees were along the wormhole. And so people who I'd shared past lives with, or shared time with in this lifetime, I would see their head, so the light would turn into their face. They kind of poke their head out, so I knew who that was, because I couldn't identify each energy by just looking at the light. And so they would kind of show me who they were. And one of them was my grandmother. And so I get through the wormhole and I look back at Earth, and I'm way out, and I can see the wormhole shifting. It's just shifting like this, and I can see Earth at the end of it, and it's beautiful. It's just green. It's lush. It's beautiful. It's what I would imagine it looking like. No pollution. It was what I would imagine it looking like after like the dinosaurs, or during the dinosaurs, when there was no machines to create pollution. And they said to me, the world could be like this again. They just need someone to guide them. And I'm like, okay. And I wasn't sure what that meant, but as I walk into the circle of creation, and I see those Native Americans who are ascended masters, just like the lights that were along that wormhole, they're telling me, what do you want to create? They're asking me, what do you want to create? And so what I've learned in my affirmations, writing my affirmations and my gratitudes, and releasing my worries to be transmuted into something positive, is I never want to be too specific, because be careful what you ask for. You just might get it. And really, sometimes the lens and the paradigms that I was raised in, and my own personal experiences in this life and my own traumas, kind of block me or blind me to what I really need. There's a difference between wants and needs. And so as I walk into the center and I engage these Native Indigenous people, all I could say to them is, I want to create that world. I want to create that world that they showed me when I was in that wormhole. I want to create the beauty that I saw, that I felt, that I engaged, that I knew existed there. I want that in this world. And I don't want to impose my beliefs or my thoughts or what I think it should be. I want it to be what it can be. I want it to be that which you showed me. How do we make that happen? And so I just go into the circle of creation with that intention to create that world. And so that was part of my week. That message came from a complete stranger about the circle of creation, who listened to her intuition and who came into my life out of left field seemingly to show me what my path was, where I was meant to be, where I needed to go. So with that, I'm just going to read this to you so you understand the significance of the circle, or the shape of a sphere. The circle represents the God force, whose center is everywhere and its circumference is nowhere. It vibrates as the energies of eternity, infinity, oneness, wholeness, continuing cycles and flow, and the beginning point. Creation. And this leads into my mantra, or one of my affirmations I've been saying for about 5 years. It's something that came to me came to me in the middle of the night, and it kept coming to me every night until I wrote it down. And it's, I am everything, everywhere, and nowhere. I permeate all things, unified always, never apart. And so when I walk into the circle, in my last video I had said a few things that really, when I talk about messages coming and there being many layers to those messages, this is an example of one. And one of the things I said in the last video I did was, creation is an act of love. It requires patience, kindness, and consideration. When I create, I trust. And so that's another thing, I walk into the center of the circle, that I walk into the creation circle of creation, thinking about or knowing or setting the intention, is that creation is an act of love. So always walking in with love in my heart, mind, body, and spirit. Understanding that part of this process is patience, kindness, and consideration, not only for myself, but all around me. And always trusting in the divine, that whatever comes is as it should be. Trusting always in that. Whatever comes is as it should be. And as I do that, I understand and I realize that we are about to witness creation. We are about to witness the divine at work. That is what is coming for us all. Some people won't make it that far. I think some people will see it, but have chosen the darkness, and so they will want to backpedal and change their ways. But at this point, it's just too late, so they'll carry that knowledge of creation to Cepheus, and then they will use that seed that it was planted here to help them in their incarnation on Cepheus, and help them be better, and help them be a pillar of light for those who still are so deeply seated in the darkness. And another thing that came to me, I'm just going to say, if you do not trust in the divine, you will be unable to identify acts of divinity. So those who are deeply steeped in the negative polarity and the paradigm or the narrative that's being put forth by this negative polarity, because they're so deeply ingrained in that ideology, they will not be able to identify the divine acts that will be coming here on earth, here for us who are inheriting the earth. They won't be able to identify it. There's too much denial of the truth. And so when I talk about people incarnating on Cepheus, I think that it's important to understand that the divine gives us all the time we need to reunify with unconditional love. So even though there will be energies or beings here that will have to incarnate in Cepheus in the future. We all have all the time we need to eventually reunify with divinity, with God, with unity, with each other. So that is the goal. That is what we do. We incarnate here on earth. We learn about different realities, existences, energies, beings within this positive and negative polarity within this universe. And as we experience the positive and the negative polarity and move to center, we elevate our vibration, eventually reunifying with the source of all creation, God, with unity in as one, where there is no longer any positive or negative, only love. Because this is all about love. God is love. Unity is love. That is unconditional love that we experience in every second and every moment of our existence is God. If you give me just a minute, and I'm going to sit and see what comes to me. And so when I close my eyes, all the native indigenous people in the circle bow their heads. The raptors were to my right and they bowed. And what the message that came to me was, Revelation, the Bible, ends the cycle. That is the end of the cycle. We have ended the cycle. And we are starting a new cycle. And we are starting a new cycle of creation. Everything is as it should be. Everything is in its place. Everybody has made their decisions. And from this point, we move forward from that place. And so I think the last thing is, the person who guided me to the circle of creation said to me, I think the circle of creation is going to, I think, actually she called it, she didn't call it anything, but she did say she believed it was a circle of protection. And she said, I think that's going to be your new favorite place. And I am going to agree with her and say that is my new favorite place. So I think that's it. Thank you.